I want to talk about the race in California. Gavin Newsom, of course, won. Everybody knows that. And I know a lot of people are disappointed. I'm disappointed, but I'm also kind of happy they didn't win. And I'm going to explain it. So Gavin Newsom won. The last time I saw it was like 65% to 47% for Larry Elder. And the others kind of got 6%. You know, they were Democrats. So, I mean, the first thing I'll say is there were other Democrats running in the race. And, you know, I just, if for a lot of people, like my friend Adam Levins, who says, oh my God, you can't do that. You're splitting the vote. You're being an asshole. Were those Democrats assholes for doing that? Because Gavin Newsom would have won a little bit more if they just had that, 25% more, right? So, anyway, just a side note. So here's where I think everything kind of went wrong for the GOP and where it went right for Newsom. So if you remember in July, it was so crazy because everyone was like, oh my God, Newsom's going to lose. I even did a video and it got like 66 views. I said he's probably going to lose this. He's likely to lose it. Now I have the iMac behind me. Let me raise that up. And it looked like it. And the reason why was you had the referendum. It was about a referendum on Gavin Newsom. And oh my God, remember, he went to the laundromat, which was the fancy French elite restaurant, and he was photographed. He let himself be photographed without a mask. I'll be like, no, keep that camera away from me. What the hell? Get me in trouble? So that's when really, and he told people stay inside, don't go eat, don't go out, don't go out without a mask. Make sure you wear a mask. And he's out with a bunch of rich assholes, being a rich asshole, not wearing a mask at a restaurant when he told everyone in California, don't go to a restaurant. It's too dangerous. So that's when really this recall really took off. This recall voted an election. They got the signatures and people, and he had the restrictions, and then he had this and the vaccines, and people were against Gavin Newsom because they thought, I hate Gavin Newsom. But then you get the GOP who, they go with this other guy who is Larry Elder. And so I'm going to get to the problem with him. But when we look at this, you look at the polls, and 2/3 of Californians are for his vaccination mandates and kind of rules and sticking things like that, and the mask mandates. They're for it. 2/3 of Californians are like, yeah, we're for it. Yeah. So you think like, I sounded like Jeremy, my buddy. So you think like, oh my God, they're gonna be against? No, they were for it, and. So now so I don't know what the mask restrictions and all that and the masking mandates and restrictions and the COVID thing, the vaccine is over there in California. I've got a lot of friends that I could ask. But again, they agreed. Now another thing, going to Larry Elder. So Larry Elder is this rich elite, he's this conservative radio host asshole, and he, let me turn that off. He kind of came in and he said, I'm going to run against Gavin Newsom. And he came in as this Trumpist. And I think that was the downfall. He came right when he came in, he was anti-vax, anti-COVID restrictions, anti-mask, all of that. And Gavin Newsom took advantage of that. So did the rest of the Democratic Party, because he leaned into more the right wing of the party, the right, instead of the moderate wing. And what they did was they said, oh my God, do you really want a guy? Look at Texas. Look at the abortion laws. Aren't you scared about not having abortion rights here? Aren't you scared of what he's going to do? There's no more COVID restrictions with this asshole. F him. Fuck them all. They're all gone. No more COVID restrictions. No more mask mandates. No more COVID vaccine mandates. No more abortion. No more nothing. Do you want to talk about the minimum wage? We're raising the minimum wage here in California. He'll get rid of the minimum wage like that, and he's right about all of it, except right. And so they also Trump. Remember, he's just like Trump. And in his thank you speech, Gavin Newsom said, we said no to Trumpism. And Joe Biden even said, look, this is Trump. This is why I beat him. This is why I beat Trump. Do you really want Trump back? I took care of it for a reason. And look, I think 3 weeks ago, Newsom was going to lose this. It had it been held to that time. Right? Just like if the election was held today, Trump would win over Biden. Now, 3 weeks into the election, into the recall, or ahead of the recall, they went with, oh my God, Trump, ah! And that's the problem. And right, that's the problem for the GOP. So it that's when the race flipped. It went from, oh my God, look what Gavin Newsom did, COVID restrictions, look at his mishandling of the pandemic, look at how he did this, look how he's never done this. He, in fact, is fighting single payer. He ran on it, but he's fighting it for, again, single payer healthcare. So everyone's thinking about that, right? They're thinking, hey, right? It went from that to, oh my God, Trump, he's Trump. And people said, look, I hate Gavin Newsom, but I also don't want Trump in office. And that's where the GOP made their mistake. Because they went with him in 2003, the Republican governor that became the Republican that became governor was Arnold Schwarzenegger. What did he do? He ran as a moderate, governed like a hardcore right-wing conservative. I mean, come on. But he ran as a moderate to attract those people that were more likely to vote Democratic to say, hey, he's not that bad, even though he was. And that's how he won that recall against, I think it's Greg Davis. I think it's Greg Davis. That's how he won that recall election. Well, these guys, the GOP went with Larry Elder. So that's the problem there. And, you know, the Democrats, they're going to take this and say, oh my God, that's our strategy. We got to do this. When that's not the strategy. That's far from it. That's far from the strategy. They're going to try and do this, and because they didn't want to talk about Gavin Newsom, because if they talked about Gavin Newsom, he's done nothing good for California, so come on, right? So they didn't want to talk about him, and so now we have this strategy that they're going to, because they all went to brunch, they fell asleep because Biden said it's all back to normal, meaning everyone's still struggling, and I'm still going to say F you, and I'll give you a minimum wage, healthcare, or end the wars, or forgive student debt, or give housing, or none of that, or do a jobs guarantee. He didn't do any of that, but guess what? They're going to go with this strategy of, oh, let's hate on Trump in the midterms. They're doomed in the midterms if they go with that strategy, and they're going to go with that strategy. And I think it's a problem if they go with that strategy, for sure. And so, yeah, not a very good idea to go with that strategy, and I would caution the Democrats to go against that, because, again, this is a whole different state. Larry Elder needed to be a lot less Trump and a little more moderate, kind of like a Democrat, because Democrats are diet Republicans, as Kyle calls them. And, right, and he would have this would have been a Larry Elder victory, because, again, this is a more Democratic state. It's almost as close to being as Democratic as New York. So when you have a New York-like Democratic state, you don't want to run as Trump. It's just going to hurt you. And it hurt Larry Elder, and it hurt the GOP's chances of taking out Newsom.